Okay, good day. This is the Algebra 2 Blended Learning Review for March 3rd, 2023. We have learning goals of we're going to factor a quadratic expression when a is equal to 1, and then we're going to factor a quadratic expression when a is not equal to 1. So, when I talk about a quadratic expression, it is a polynomial, and we've been dealing with polynomials of higher degree. But as review, a polynomial is just one that has an x to the second power. Now, factoring one that has three terms in it, the way we're going to do that is we're going to look at this c value and this b value. And we're going to try and find two numbers so that when I multiply those two numbers, I get the c value. And then when I add those two numbers, I get this b value. And then we'll just write those two numbers as factors, x minus m and x minus n, whatever we put here and here. So what does that look like? Here I have x squared minus x minus 30. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a multiplication such that it's equal to negative 30. And then I'm going to write an addition, that should be a 30, so that it's equal to negative 1. And remember, if there's no number there, we assume that it's a 1. And since it's negative, we'll put it there. And so I see fairly quickly that negative 6 and positive 5, when I multiply those two numbers together, I get negative 30. And when I add those two numbers, I get negative 1. So since they have the same two numbers, I can write the factors of this expression as x minus 6 and x plus 5. And if I multiplied this out by foiling and or distributing, I will get this x squared minus x minus 30. Now, should you come across an expression which a is not equal to 1, we have an additional step. It's similar, but we have an additional step. We have to multiply a times c. Now, in the previous one, a was 1, so 1 times c would be c, but here, since we have a different value, we're going to go a times c. And then we'll find two values, the same two values that add up to b, and then what we'll do is we'll replace this middle term with the sum of whatever these two numbers are with x. We'll group the first and second set pair of terms, and then we'll factor something from each pair. And then we'll factor the same group. So what does that look like? Well, here I have x squared minus 7x plus 3. And so what I want to do is I want to figure out what AC is. Now in this case, AC is going to be 2 times 3, and that's going to be 6. So I need two values that when I multiply them, I get this 6, and then when I add those two values, I get negative 7. Now, because the sum is negative and the multiplication is positive, both of these numbers are going to have to be negative. And so fairly quickly, I can see that negative 1 times negative 6 will be positive 6, and then negative 1 plus plus negative 6 will be negative 7. And so this one's a little bit different than the last one in the fact that I'm going to use these numbers and I'm going to rewrite this negative 7x. So it'll be 2x squared minus x minus 7. Let me start over and do this correctly. I apologize. It will be 2x squared minus the 1x minus 6x and then plus 3. So negative x minus 6x is the negative 7x. Then I will group them, 2x squared minus x as a group. And then when I group this second one with a negative, remember, I have to change both of the signs. And so now I'm going to factor something from both of them. Now the first one's pretty easy. All I can take is an x out of it. So I'll take that x out of the front. And that'll leave me with 2x minus 1. And so 2x squared divided by x is 2x. And then x divided by x is negative 1. And then here I can take a 3 out of both terms. So I'll have negative 3. And then it'll be 2x minus 1. And that makes me feel real good because this term right here and this term right here are the same. And so now I'm just as I factored out an x from both of these terms and I factored out a 3 from both of these terms, I am going to factor out a 2x minus 1 from both of these terms, and then I'll just bring these two numbers down and say it's x minus 3 as my second set, and that is my completely factored form. All right there, folks. I know that's short and quick, but that's what you guys all wanted, and I hope this helps. Please make sure you have that practice work turned in to me for Monday. Have a great rest of your Friday and a great rest of your weekend. Have a good day. Goodbye.